What is it in Texas?
Austin, Texas.
Okay.
The weirdest part of Texas.
That's what they say. I have heard that. Keep Austin weird.
Yes!
Ah, I'm in! I'm in! I know the lingo.
What is Denver's slogan?
Okay, let's go pick up Gabby.
Hello!
Hi! Welcome.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
So good to see you, Delroy.
Good to see you. Welcome to the rainy Denver right now. This is not normal. It's actually been very warm here for the last 2 weeks. So
I can
we'll
see
make
the
it work.
flowers on the trees.
Yes, that's what has actually been good for. So it is kind of look at it right now. It's 12:30 in the afternoon. We're about to jump on the highway, go see some houses, but you will realize there's probably going to be some traffic along the way. It will be.
So, Delroy, tell me about yourself. I'm very excited to get to know you more. After reading about you, seeing your presence on Instagram, you got an amazing Instagram.
Thank you.
I think that the way that you present yourself is luxurious.
I appreciate that. And about my story's long, so it depends what part of it we're going to discuss today. But from a real estate standpoint, I've been in real estate for 13 years as an agent, and then I did real estate marketing for about 7 years. So I've almost been in the real estate industry for almost 20 years.
Well, you're born and raised in London, and now
Yep.
you're a staple in the Denver real estate market. You've experienced real estate worlds on both sides of the pond. How was your international background influencing your work in Denver?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it really helps. Being international helps, especially not just in the luxury space, but it gives me a different outlook from other people. I can communicate about things that I think some people haven't experienced before. Being from London is just a much more diverse, international, and not just that, but the level of wealth is also different, right? Meaning, we've got a royal family.
Yes.
We're, one of the longest standing monarchs, and there's just a lot of things and etiquette and lifestyle that happen in London that are very specific, but it translates a lot into luxury and international markets. So Denver is becoming an international market. It's still got a ways to go, but a lot of the shifts that happen constantly in real estate that make people nervous, most of the time I've experienced the form of it already. Just from whether there's homes being torn down and being rebuilt, whether there's higher level finishes that are being put into properties, different amenities that are being put into homes. A lot of the stuff is like 5 to 10 years behind where it is in London, and I always go back to London still, where I'm from, and stay up to speed as to what is being put into property. So like flat panel cabinetry, for instance, as the example, that has been a European, is what they call them now, because they saw them in Europe and brought them to America, but that's just a standard cabinet to me.
Right.
So here it's like a luxury cabinet. So little nuances like that where people are like, oh, have you seen these? I'm like, yeah, I grew up seeing those. They're not anything that major.
So being on both sides of the pond almost gives you that foresight perspective.
Correct.
Seeing where trends are coming, where they might go, and being able to place your own clients in the way of being ahead.
Correct, exactly. And help my clients make money, right? So if you can have that foresight and say, hey, actually, trust me, put this in, because the people that are buying the properties have been around and they've traveled and seen this before, and it will feel familiar to them. A lot of the oversized, opulent homes that you see that get built a lot of the times in these estate communities get inspiration from like France and London, or people have traveled somewhere, seen it, and now they want it where they're at. So you will resonate that when you build a product. So the house we're going to is under construction. It's an Art Deco style house. It's very much not European, but Miami style inspiration behind this property, but it still leans towards like a lot of that. Art Deco is like a time in the marketplace where there was a level of flair, and a lot of that flair still started in these places where there was a lot of opulence. So you'll see kind of that design aesthetic. It's very different from the norm.
Now, with your expertise in handling complex transactions and international relocation is notable. What is one of your most challenging transactions you've navigated, and what would you say was the strongest pinpoint and takeaway from managing it?
Oh man, there's a lot of crazy transactions in real estate. We got to pick one. So we had a transaction once. This was a luxury client. Midway through the transaction, the client, he got arrested. He got into a bar fight and got arrested mid-transaction, $3 million transaction, and he still wanted to buy the house during this time. Like he was like, yeah, I'm buying the house still, but he just disappeared off the face of the earth. Meaning we're mid-transaction, communications happening, blah, blah, blah. You know, Monday, I'm calling to check in. Just don't hear from him. Don't hear from him. Don't hear from him. Don't. The whole week goes by. The other agent is calling me. Hey, aren't you doing your inspection? When are you doing this? I'm like, yeah, let me get back to you on that. Because I just didn't know where he went.
Where did he go?
Then like Wednesday or Thursday rolls around that week, and I get a random phone call from this guy. And this guy's like, hey, yeah, I know you're doing this house for my friend. He just said, can you call me and tell me? I was like, no, I cannot. Like, I don't know who you are. This is a private transaction. I need someone to actually tell me what is going on so we can figure out this transaction. Does he need to terminate? Because I need to protect his earnest money so he doesn't lose it if he cannot close. So what's going on? Long story short, got in touch with the parents. Parents filled me in on everything, that he got into an argument and got arrested. And because it was a Friday, they kept him in jail for like the whole time, and then he got into an argument. So he was trying to figure it all out. Meanwhile, his parents had to send in a power of attorney into the jail to get the documents signed so that they could take over the transaction and do the paperwork and the scheduling for the client. We closed the deal while he was away, and then he came out, and then he remodeled the house, and then we sold the house, and it ended up selling for, he made like $500,000 when he sold the house as well. So
wow,
that was pretty crazy.
That is, I would say that the lesson learned, maybe make you the first phone call. Like,
right, exactly. Why didn't you call me? But no, that was a pretty intense situation. Mainly for me because I want to protect the client as much as possible. So when there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of earnest money on the line and I just don't hear from you, I was like thinking, like, I'm gonna just have to like get someone, his parent or someone, to sign like a document to say like he's gone missing or something, like to try and get his money back and give it to his parents or something.
And you need that on record. Like,
yes,
we are missing him in action.
Right, and then you don't want to scare everyone as well by putting that out there if that's not what's happening. So
you know, that's a little tricky delegation that you had to do.
Yeah. So that was complex. But other than that, it's always, you know, tougher clients sometimes you got to deal with, moving country, states. I've had clients that are moving from one country to another. That's always very tricky, dealing with, like, if you move countries, some people don't know that you have to get the paperwork signed at a U.S. embassy if you're not in America and you want to sell a house. So, you know, understanding that and the timeline that it could take for you to book an appointment there, so that you don't, again, lose your money by not being able to fulfill your obligations of the contract. So, but every real estate deal is different and something always comes up. So we could go on about stories forever.
And what is the most popular style of home right now? in Denver?
That's a good question. I feel like Denver is in a transitional period right now. Look here. We've got these are modern farmhouses, right? One, two, three, four of them right there. That was a thing, and that's kind of like it's still being built, but I don't think the hype for it and the demand for it is as high as it was. Then you have the ultra modern, which people are like, oh, I don't want this box anymore. So you have some people that are pushing against that as well. So I feel like there's um, a modern traditional house that is going to step into the new. That's where I think the trend is going.
The trend is heading.
But I would say right now, what people are looking for, the trend is character. People really are going. They don't just want plain Jane basic property. So this is the house we're going to see. Tons of character in this property here.
Gorgeous. I love the curve on this edge.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
But they still have the sharp edge.
Yep.
It's the mix.
See, they've toned it down, so it gives it character, and it's not just all completely flat. But yeah, I think seeing things that have character, things that are built well, is definitely a thing. But Denver is such an eclectic place. You got modern styling, you got the mid-century modern. That's a big thing here.
So as this house is under construction, what is your kind of game plan where you help your client to go through this process of demolition, then the procedure to get it onto the market?
Yes, this house has a really cool story. This house that we're at here, the Carlisle house, interesting marketing story with this one. The developer, he had a marketing person. I have my own marketing team as well. So we kind of brainstormed an idea of how can we get the information and create some noise about this house before it's finished. This was being framed. It's still not done, but we want to start getting some marketing out about this house. So the builder and I sat down. We branded the house with his marketing person, and it is built and inspired from a house in Miami, the Carlisle Hotel. So now we have a house that's branded in the same way in Denver, and every agent knows in your area there's a place where the neighbors love to get on a good rant. They can rant about everything that is happening in the neighborhood.
Where do they do it?
Why not Facebook? Hey, let's get on the Facebook page, next door page, wherever they are, right? So we thought that is where all the eyeballs are about everything. Let's go there. So we put together the massive sign outside branding the house, the Carlisle Hotel property in Denver. And you can see the sign. Yes.
That is a Texas sign.
Big Texas sign. We brought Texas to Denver.
And I love that the house outline is on the sign.
Correct. Yeah. So we wanted to market and give that visual, right? We wanted to keep pushing that visual because the house is such a unique design itself. So we knew if they take a picture of the sign, if they take a picture of the house, we wanted all of the branding to match.
And this is all happening before the house has even begun construction.
Correct, exactly.
We're already thinking about marketing. We're already thinking about how we're going to promote it.
Exactly, yeah. This is months in the making. So we're putting this all together. So we put the sign out. We get the house kind of somewhat constructed once it was wrapped on the exterior. Sign did its job. I got a phone call. And the agent said, hey, I've seen this house. I said, where did you see it? She said, on Facebook. She said, yep, there's a page bashing the house. But luckily, my client was one of the people that saw it on Facebook, and they want to come and see the house.
Oh, okay.
So he is actually from Texas.
Wow!
Yes, the buyer is from Texas. He moved from Texas, but his daughter lives in the area as well. So she first saw the Facebook post and then tagged her dad and said, Dad, look at this house. So, what do they say about news, good news or bad press? Good press.
It's still
press. So most of the people did what they normally do, which is rant and absolutely, tear the house down in the comment section. But, a few of them loved the house and wanted to see it. So booked a showing, looked at the property, and now we have the all-time highest ever sale in Brae by almost double.
Wow. And Not even done construction.
Not even done. I saw it, loved it, understood the level of quality that was going into the house, and fell in love right away.
Well, I'm excited to check it out.
Yep, let's go see.
We're going through Denver and looking at houses. What makes a neighborhood really stand out to a potential client?
Neighborhoods stand out. There's different things to think about with that question, meaning what is desirable from a neighborhood versus what is functional for a buyer, right? So, meaning the neighborhood we're in right now, Belcaro, Brae, Polo Club, these areas in Denver, the bigger and the more abundant the mature trees are, normally tells you the price is higher.
Mm-hmm.
If that is what we're going for, desirability, because everyone wants to live with. Look at this when we.
It's
drive.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
I love seeing trees above 8 feet tall.
Yep, exactly. So
that's
desirable. But from just a regular home buyer perspective, it's going to be what's necessary for that buyer. So, do they have kids? Do they have a family? Are they a doctor? Do they want to be by work? All of those things are important from a buyer's perspective based on their personal needs. So, I would say it's really about what the client's looking for, and then the neighborhood. We match those needs with particular neighborhoods, right? And there'll be some give and take in there. I don't think, and this is going for any price point. There's never a 10 out of 10 of everything, right? You give and take a little bit in some areas to get what's going to be closest to the best fit for you.
You know that there's immediately something that's going to stand out to them, but the nuances of each neighborhood also still matter.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Denver is a place that this is a nuanced place. Like we've driven just like not even 2 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in a different neighborhood now.
It is.
We're in a completely different neighborhood, and then if we'll just cruise down. Actually, we're gonna cruise this way for 1 second, just so we can show Gabby how different it gets in Denver. So those houses that we saw were in Brae, and now we've gone basically 2 blocks down, and now we're in Belcaro, and you're seeing more of sprawling ranch style houses, more spread out.
And like the mixture of like the house next to the house do not look like each other.
Correct, yes. So super cool house there. I sold this house last year. That was a pretty famous person was connected to that house when we sold it at the time.
Who are the supers of the city?
They are CEOs, executives, finance, tech, cryptocurrency.
Speaking of supers, if you were given the task...
I like the word supers.
Yes, I do too. Speaking of supers, if you had the task of finding a dream home for any superhero, who is your client and what kind of property would you hunt for them in Denver?
Okay. So wait, is a client is a superhero?
Yes. So tell me what superhero, and then where would you put him in Denver?
Oh man, okay, good one. So my favorite superhero of all time is Wolverine from the X-Men. So that's the superhero that we gotta find a house for. And then where would we put him? I would put him in Cherry Hills Village, which is south, close by, right by where my office is, on that side of town. It's the most expensive zip code in Colorado, and the homes are not. You can get 1 acres, but the majority are around 2 acre lots, but gated, private, hidden, like how the X-Men normally live, kind of hidden in plain sight. It's right there. If you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. But he could go there and have enough land to work on his superhero moves and his body armor and everything. If he wanted to get to the city and save the world, he's close enough by.
He's close enough by.
Yep.
No traffic. He can take an Uber.
Yeah, right there, right on time. So, yeah, Wolverine, Cherry Hills Village.
Amazing. If you know, you know.
Exactly.
Hit you with a quick little in and out. What's
Okay.
happening in Denver? Mid-century modern homes, are these still with the clean lines, the crown jewels of Denver neighborhoods, or are they fading for favor of a new trend?
I don't think mid-mod will ever fade. I think that they are forever a jewel in real estate. Too much good has come from that time period of functional design, and I'm all about function and design, the marriage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And mid-century modern is the crown jewel of that. So to me, no, forever a thing.
Rooftop decks.
Oh, rooftop decks. They're a bit overrated. If this is underrated or overrated, to me, overrated.
On its way out?
I think the basic rooftop deck is on its way out or gone. You need to have a functional rooftop deck. Rooftop deck without any kitchen, anywhere for plates, cups, glasses to be used. It needs to be self-contained, meaning I go up there and everything I need is there for me to use. If I have to go downstairs to a kitchen to get anything for my rooftop deck, no one will use it and it'll become dead space.
That's a good point. Where you're just not really in the mood to be active, you're trying to chill on your deck.
Right, you just don't want to go up and down. People just, and I've seen it. I've seen people that have these amazing rooftop decks with views, and they're like, let's just sit in the backyard because you got to carry all the stuff upstairs. And I'm like, yeah, I told you. Remember I told you.
Tiny homes.
Tiny homes. Tiny homes if done right. Meaning in London. We live in tiny homes in London. Everything is tiny and compact. I feel like right now the push for tiny homes in Colorado, anyway, from what I've seen, the tag of them is like affordability, which is needed, and that is great. And I think that is one sector of the market. If we're talking to me from a luxury standpoint of the marketplace, I think there can also be, I've been telling my daughters actually for the last 2 years, build smaller. We don't need, no one wants 10,000, 12,000 square feet on a wide scale basis anymore.
Right.
People want smaller homes, but they want higher level finishes and better function.
Right. They would prefer those finer details in the home that they bought rather than just more home.
Correct. Just a big room.
Right.
You know, look how many rooms have just disappeared over time.
Would you say that the work home office, how important is that to people in Denver?
Very, very important still. Dual home offices, 2 home offices is still a very big thing. I still see that. That's, you know, since COVID, that was the peak of it. But now still home buyers are always, husband works from home, even if the wife is working from home too, or one of them's part-time working from home, they were like, yeah, we would prefer 2 offices in the house. So yes.
Smart home technology. Are you seeing cutting edge smart home technology in the homes in Denver? Are people asking for it? Is that a selling point?
Yeah, I think right now there is a ceiling in Denver for smart home, meaning like management system control for lights, cameras, shades, sound.
I do like the shades. To be able to press a button and the shades go down.
Things are needed and are good functions of a property. But I think there is a level above that Denver needs to go to next. Meaning ovens, higher end, like in Europe, they have dishwashers that are wall mounted. So you're not like breaking your back to get down and pack the dishwasher. It's actually like how microwaves are. It's not as high up as a microwave, but it's like one cabinet below and then you have your dishwasher. So things like that, I think we're still missing in Denver, but we'll get there.
Right. and you can push your clients towards there.
Yes, absolutely. Every time we do some new construction, we start adding tidbits of those into properties, and we're about to see one right now.
All right, tell me about it.
So this is a new build. This is by a company named Smith and Mead, and they have a very distinct style. They actually were some of the first people to start doing traditional modern, colonial modern styling of properties in Denver. So you'll feel when we go in there, still a ton of character, but very much to the time of today. So that's what a lot of people are looking for now. And it just came on the market not too long ago. And a cool, quick story about it that we did on the marketing.
Oh, yes, please.
One of the key features of this property, it has an amazing kitchen. So we got a influencer who is a top chef. He's been on the show Top Chef, been on the Food Network on various different shows, and we showed him like giving a tour and communicating about the kitchen. And then he posted the content, we posted the content, and did a collaboration with him. So using influencers, using the sign, there's different ways to market property today to get the eyeballs on it.
And where else would you want to have the best Top Chef meal than in a top shelf home?
Top shelf home, yes. Top shelf home, top shelf kitchen. This is, we'll see when we go in.
Now, I was really looking forward to asking you this one. This is a fun question.
Okay.
If you had to sell a haunted house, but every listing photo that you took had a ghost in it, how would you spin that marketing?
Oh man, that is a good question. I would say welcome home. Let's see. I don't know the exact phrase that I would use. So if we were selling a house and it came with a ghost, we would have something to say like it comes with a friend in tow. So, like there's already a guest for you here. Make some friends or something. Come and make some friends.
This house has a friend included.
Yes, friends included. Exactly. Yes, that would be the marketing spin. But there would be some pretty cool. Like you would have to. Like I would want to list it during Halloween weekend. And then I would, collaborate with haunted house or people that are in that world, right? Because that would be the person who would want it. So you would cross collaborate with that industry.
Absolutely. And maybe even a podcaster.
Definitely.
Murder mystery podcast.
We would have a broker open murder mystery event.
That would be so much fun. You walk in and you get like a little like, ooh, are you the killer? Who are you?
Exactly. We'd play up. You just have to, things like that. You just got, again, transparency. The ghost is here. We're going to find him together. He's been fine with me. The problem becomes if it's like a crazy ghost. He's like pulling the sheets off of you at night or opening the windows or ringing the doorbell. Then we'll figure something else.
Yeah. That's when you maybe go for the other route of like.
You have to call the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, Ghostbuster.
Yeah. Broker open Ghostbuster.
No
party.
Contractors on this one. Just put Ghostbusters.
Exactly.
If you had to sell a fictional house, which house would you love to sell, and which house would you never agree with to sell? That's a fictional home, media, books, movies.
Oh, like any house, like a famous house.
Yes.
Any house. Okay. House that I would love. Well, there is a house I would love to sell. It's not fictional. It's a real house, but it's a dream to me because it's in a different state, and I only sell here. But I toured this house in Beverly Hills, California, and it was called the Carlisle House, and it sold for $50 million. And it's the best house I've ever seen in my entire life.
What stood out to you that made that so memorable?
And I've seen a lot of houses, so trust me when I say it. And I've seen I've seen $100 million houses. Like I've seen crazy houses before. What stood out to me the most was the attention to function and design. It's my thing.
It is.
It's my thing. I love it when that comes together. So, like, the garage of the house was all wrapped in one material, including the doors. So it looked invisible. It just looked like a part of the house until you press the button, and then the doors would open up on the garage, and then you could see it was a garage. And then the roof line of the house was almost completely floating, and the entire front of the house and the back of the house both had electronic nano walls and windows, and you could press a button and open the entire property, front and back. So if you pulled up and it was hidden behind a long driving gate, so once you're up the driveway and you're at the house, you were completely secluded in trees, and then you could see the LA skyline once you drove and got through it, and it was just mind blowing.
Wow, it sounds almost like it's like a clam. It's like inviting you in, and
Yes.
then you get to go into like this mini universe.
Yes, yes.
How cool.
So that would, if I was gonna sell the fictional house, it would be that one. The house I would never sell, honestly, would be the haunted house. Seriously, I wouldn't actually take, if that client, I could come up with marketing ideas and I could consult on it. I'm just not a ghost person. Like, I felt like a hand touching my ear. I'm not selling your house.
Listen, we have transparency even with the transparent.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Not happening.
And a last fun question is, if you could host an open house where it's a guest appearance from any music artist, which music artist would be at the top of your list?
Do they have to be alive, or can they be passed away?
Ooh, we're gonna open it up to passed away as we speak about
Okay, bring them back from the dead.
Yep, and where would you put them in the house? Like, where would be a place for
the
show?
Yep. So they would definitely be in the kitchen, and it would be Bob Marley.
Ah, yes.
Yes, because touch your soul, just like the food and everything. It's harmony. That's like the house, the heart of the house. Bob Marley has such a big heart. Food is to the heart. That's the energy.
Get everyone to the heart of the home, heart of the house, the heart of the transaction.
That's right.
You know, for people who are considering moving and investing in Denver, what advice do you have, and how can they best prepare for entering this market this upcoming year, 2024, with your help?
Yeah, with my help. That's my answer. Call me. If you're interested in investing or buying in Denver, the first thing you're going to need is to speak to me so we can break down exactly what your strategy is. Like, why are you buying? Where do you think you want to be? A lot of the times people think they want to move to Denver and they're going to have this, like, I live in the mountains. You've been here for a few hours. We've been driving around. You don't feel like you're on the side of the mountain anywhere. Not at all, right? So I've got clients that have flown in. They're like, yeah, let's go look in Evergreen. I want to be up in the hills. And then they get there and they're like, no, actually, I don't want this. So I can just help alleviate a lot of those timestamps that would take you driving around. I can take someone's time frame from a 6 months decision into a 3-day decision.
Wow. Would you say that when people move to Denver, that the family growth, people are moving here with the intention to raise a family, they already have a family? Is this where they bring the family together?
Yeah, Denver's definitely a family-oriented place. I have kids. I've got 3 kids. Yeah, there's a ton of families and kids. And the area would kind of dictate the demographic, right? Like, there's not going to be a ton of families downtown because you have a lot more condos and, it's a city lifestyle, lots of bars and people out and about all times, and much louder area. Whereas where we've traveled today, much more community-driven parks and walkability. There's so many walking trails and bike trails built into the neighborhood here that, yeah, I would say this is a family-centered place overall, yes.
So 2 last questions. What is the legacy that you want to leave for your children with your career?
This is an interesting question. So I used to really think about legacy a lot before, especially when I was like breaking into real estate and then breaking into luxury and then doing all these things and buying investment properties and flipping houses and building this. um, this what I would consider like a little mini empire that is being built now. And I think I've switched my mindset a little bit away from legacy. I think legacy is a bit overrated in terms of how people use it. And I don't say this to put myself down that much, but like I'm a blip in the world compared to the bigger picture here. So I'll pass away. Yes, my immediate families would be upset one day when, that happens. Hopefully, God forbid, anytime soon. But like tomorrow will still come. Life will still go on. The world will keep moving. So like people sometimes fantasize about this legacy, how big their legacy is going to be. I'm not Martin Luther King. I'm not changing the world by selling real estate. I'm helping some lives and people on an individual basis, building some wealth and doing stuff. So I feel like legacy for me is like it's solidified. What it is, it will be. I got YouTube videos. You can look me up. There'll be my Instagram page will hopefully still be there. There's YouTube videos for me for 15 years. You can find out who I am basically and what I've done. So now I've moved into more of like an empire mode. Now it's about building an empire and not worrying about legacy and empires, and that's for my family, right? What can we do collectively that is going to put these building blocks in place to sustain my family down the road, more like generational wealth stuff and not just focused on legacy. My personality is not hidden.
What would you say is the legacy Denver is going to leave on you?
Whoa, I've never been asked that before. Wow. Denver, like it made me, isn't it? Really, like London raised me and Denver made me.
I like that.
Yeah, that's yeah. Every big significant milestones in my life that are what are a part of my life today came from that. Like I got married here. So my kids were born back in London, but like if I didn't get married to my wife, I wouldn't have my kids. And I got married here, and then my last child is born here. I bought my first ever house here. My entire family is here. I started my real estate career here. I found all my mentors that I have today here. So Denver made me. It shaped who I am today, along with that kid from South London.
Well, I loved our dialogue at the dashboard.
Had a great
today.
time. Had a great time.
It was great. If y'all want to learn more about Delroy, we'll have the links below. He's an amazing realtor if you're ever in Denver, Colorado. He's the one. Transparency, clarity, and luxury.
Absolutely. Come out. I'll give you a tour too.
What is Denver's slogan?
The Mile High City.
Mile High
5280. We're 5280 miles above sea level.